leaders, right? Where do you stand on that? Well, my name is Kate, and I'm standing-ish in front of you, hoping that you'll listen and competing for your attention. But why? Well, that's because I want to tell you about leadership. Now, I could stand here to follow your dreams, be who you are, and never give up. And while that sounds nice, I won't, because I have something different. A common misconception with leaders is that great leaders are born, but as Albus Dumbledore says, it's not what we're born, but what we grow to be. And this concept is true with a lot of leaders. Leaders start off small, and as they grow, so their confidence grows with them. Think of it as a flower. A flower starts off with a seed. Now, this seed could be anything, from a nudge from your mentor to just wanting to know how people think a little bit better. This seed could be anything, but it may not bloom as quickly as you want it to. It certainly didn't for me. As grateful as I was for the roles at the time, I kept getting second best, and it's always discouraging to stand in the shadows when the spotlight is steps away. But don't give up, because these discouraging experiences become discouraging opportunities that allow you to empathize with people put under your leadership in the future. Think back to our concept of the flower. If it rains on the flower will struggle for a little bit, but eventually it will start to grow into what it will become. The same concept applies with leaders. If you feel like life is throwing a storm at you, don't give up. Remember, nothing lasts forever. As I took a step back, wanting to grow myself to the full potential, I watched the leaders around me and realized that my main issue was my focus was on me. See, as leaders, the focus shouldn't be on me, but on we. See, leading is leading a collective group of people, not just yourself. The greatest way to lead is to serve. Now, a lot of great leaders through history have done this. Mahatma Gandhi, for instance, was an Indian protester who protested peacefully against the British Empire who ruled India at the time. One example of this is when he went on hunger strike in his cell on September 16, 1932, to show them that he wouldn't act out violently, but he would show them what he wanted. Another example is Abraham Lincoln. Now, Abraham Lincoln was the 16th president of the United States, and he ruled in a pivotal point in America as the Civil War was going on. Now, the Civil War had a lot to do with racial equality, and Lincoln's actions in the Civil War led to less racial equality in the United States and helped to shape it as we know it today. Now, perhaps the biggest example for me as a Christian would be Jesus. Now, throughout his 3 years serving on earth, Jesus spent a lot of time helping people. Perhaps the biggest example of this would be when he decided to wash his disciples' feet. Now, a little bit of context for those of you who don't know. Jesus lived in a time where honor was top priority, and servants were often delegated tasks that brought less honor. The fact that Jesus, who decided to wash the disciples' feet, as honored and respected as he was, by the way, the washing of the feet was for the lowest of low servants. The fact that he chose to do that was a big step, saying, hey, I want to honor you guys. But these three leaders don't have very much in common. They lived in different time periods, they were from different countries, and they had different religious backgrounds. But the one thing that they had in common was we and not me. But how might this affect you? Well, chances are you lead someone somewhere. Put your hand up if you have a sibling. I know I do. Now, what's one way that you can serve them this week? It could be as simple as getting their clothes ready or making their lunches or something even more simple. Put your hand up if you have a neighbor. What's one way you can prioritize time with them this week instead of on your device? Now, if these scenarios don't apply to you, and if they do, I want you to close your eyes and think of one person who you know looks up to you as a leader. Once you have thought of this person, open your eyes. What's one way you can show them that you want to serve them and lead them? A few thoughts I'd like to leave you with. If not you, then who? If not now, and then when? You lead someone. Don't forget it. Thank you.